think COVID has accelerated things. Customers are looking for digital sales and services. Teams are working from anywhere. And one of the other things is that B2B has often been overlooked. So there have been digital investments in B2C, but B2B is a new area for many telcos. And operators are seeing the benefits already from some of their initial investments in digital transformation. And they're looking at moving beyond an app and simple journeys into much more joined up and richer experiences. The other thing I think is customer expectations around experience have changed. You know, they don't want legacy problems of their telecommunications operator exposed to them. They expect seamless digital service. And from an operator perspective, they're looking to be more agile and to streamline processes, workflows, replace legacy systems with modern infrastructure. And the final thing I would say is many operators are actually setting very ambitious targets now around digital transformation. So we've seen some of our customers set targets like 80, 90% for digital service interactions and up to 50% for digital sales. Dirk, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, thanks, Oisin. I think there are two really important things. The first one for me is that the standard of customer experience is actually for a long time now not being set within the telco space, but from the outside, from all the OTT players and hyperscaler service that we are using every day. And telco customers, and really no matter if they're a B2C customer and predominantly our B2B enterprise users, are no longer willing to accept any mediocre, disconnected customer journey anymore. They demand from their telcos what they are used from elsewhere. And telcos really need to step up here and to deliver on this. And this is where the investment drive comes from. The second big point for me is that with the physical channels disappearing and probably not coming back in sales and service like they used to be, it becomes a very clear imperative for CSPs to build and deliver sales and service channels with a digital first mindset. And this is really a paradigm shift, especially in B2B. For example, digital sales in B2B beyond the SOHO segment was probably more a hobby than a real priority for many telcos. And this is now clearly changing. And this implies very significant changes in investments to build AV capabilities and to digitize all the necessary backend processes behind them that used to be more manual and disconnected and now need to function in a fully digital fashion. We really see demand for fiber and fiber deployments exploding. For enterprise customers, this demand has been there for quite a while, with the digitalization of production in digital factories and connected supply chains. But oftentimes, fiber was not available in non-urban locations. And for B2B alone, it was very difficult to justify the investments from a CSP's perspective. But pressure from businesses has been growing steadily. But the real pivotal shift is now coming from the consumer space. As we move into a more permanent hybrid working environment and maybe even digital schooling, customers suddenly appreciate the landline at home much, much more. What used to be really a commodity utility, which was okay to good enough over DSL or copper and cable, suddenly becomes the lifeline to the outside world. And customers are willing to pay now extra for better quality of service. And really, a full family working, schooling, streaming, gaming at home can no longer be properly served over copper infrastructure. Thus, this spike in demand and willingness to pay, which in turn drives the rush to deployments, both from the existing incumbents in the market, but also a lot of new entrants which are growing up, which more often than not are PE, private equity funded. So this market is becoming very dynamic, but also very competitive. So growth and retention of existing customer bases can become very challenging over time. Thus, in our view, customer experience becomes a really important competitive differentiator. And telcos really need very key capabilities to deliver. Oisin, what do you think?
I think that's excellent, Dirk. The capabilities that are needed to compete in experience is really how one fiber service provider is going to compete with another. And if you look at the different life cycle elements and what's important, you can see the capabilities you need. In the initial marketing phase, it's important to target offers where the service is available, and matching that service availability with the ongoing fiber build out is going to become important. You then get into the buy phase when customers want to purchase the service and they need to know what speeds are available in their area. They expect a simple buying process with streamlined order journeys. And part of that is going to involve field technicians visiting the customer's home. And all of that needs to be optimized in terms of planning and making sure it's done at the lowest cost to the provider. But also the consumer will expect if they need to change the time of those appointments that they can do it through a self-service journey. Other capabilities that you need to consider are for B2B, which has a much more complex contracting process, which could involve multiple sites and different entities paying and receiving the service. Um, and the self-service through apps across both B2B and B2C and giving customers visibility of what's happening, when it's happening, that's going to be important. And as you get into customers on board and their ongoing service journey and service needs, the agent's having a 360 view of all the interactions, what's happened. It's going to be very important to offer a level of service that can differentiate, this fiber service provider from another. And finally, just wholesale capabilities. A lot of our customers, in addition to servicing B2B and B2C markets, are offering their services on a wholesale basis. And that triggers a whole need for digital journeys for the whole partner onboarding and management process. We're seeing an acceptance in the market that the 10 and 20-year-old systems that were deployed for BSS are no longer relevant in a 5G era. There's a number of reasons for this. One is the whole buying process has changed over the years. So no longer are retail channels and call center channels primary sales interaction points. And also, the operators are very interested in monetizing the new network capabilities that 5G will bring in new ways. And the types of customers that they want to serve have changed. So enterprise customers are going to be much more important, and providing digital journeys for those customers will be important. And also partners. So allowing partners to have access to the rich functionality that the 5G network will bring and to create new solutions on a co-creation basis is going to be very important. And enabling all of this involves business agility. So it's changing the clock speed of a telco, so enabling it to move much faster in terms of how it brings services to market and in terms of how it makes changes so that they're done in hours and days, not months and years. And we're seeing a first wave of consumer services and interest in 5G. It's very helpful that companies like Apple are producing the handsets that make 5G available. And we're seeing, operators experiment with new pricing models to raise their ARPUs and things like speed tiers, giving the highest, charging a premium for the highest speeds available, and things like AR and VR applications where they've optimized parts of the network to showcase those applications. Dirk, have you anything to add to this?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that really the common wisdom is that the monetization of 5G will be predominantly in the enterprise space. Why is it so? Because with 5G, a lot of the network capabilities move into software and are being software defined. Therefore, the connectivity in everything around the quality of service, including private network elements, building virtual networks, embedded security, and so on, can be configured and packaged in the communication product. With this, CSPs and their partners, as you alluded to before, can start building solutions around this for mobility, for surveillance, all the entire universe of Internet of Things, where the connectivity is an integrated part of something bigger. And sometimes CSPs will sell those services, but more often than not, CSPs provide these capabilities to others via open APIs to build the connectivity into their solutions and offerings. So there will be a whole new level of wholesale and white labeling happening in our view. And the current OSS and BSS systems are not at all prepared for this, to expose these capabilities, especially in any format of automated fashion to the outside world, and more importantly, to actually price them. So telcos need to build those capabilities. And this development will really give way to what we believe is going to be marketplaces that are being built on top of CSP offerings that enable others to build those new services on even new business models, moving away from connectivity to a network as a service, network as a platform, or even network as an ecosystem where entire ecosystem is being built around. And we actually see quite a few CSPs moving in this direction already to build these marketplaces and to make them a reality, even though that maybe has not been unveiled to the public yet in all instances.